Hey everyone, welcome to this month's episode of Phygital Learning's event recap series. We have been recapping events since January, and this is April 2026. So we're now 4 months in, and I think this is our last one for a while, but I'm very excited to welcome our learning partner, Kelly Mitchell. Kelly is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she was able to attend Canva Create this year in Los Angeles. And so we invited Kelly to come out and share with us all the happenings from Canva Create. So over to you, Kelly.
All right. Thank you for having me. And we had a blast, Becky, getting to see each other in real time.
It was
That was
so
always
fun.
fun.
Yeah, I didn't tell the audience. I was there too. It
And
was really fun.
yeah. And Canva Create, as you can expect, is always a blast. It's always so vibrant and colorful. I know that's what we were saying when we were there. It's just great energy, right? Everybody shows up with the best energy. So we're going to just try to bring you some of the best today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Kelly Mitchell, and like you said, I am an educational resource educator here in Albuquerque, and also one of the learning partners. You can find me on Instagram and on LinkedIn. But today we are going to talk about Canva Create, and let's get started. So the first theme is the biggest theme. So this was the theme of the day at Canva Create, which was their AI 2.0. And so if you don't already have this on your Canva account, then it will be coming soon. I think over the next month or two is when it should be rolled out to everybody. Some people will be seeing it, like if you were there and you got the sneak peek and you got to type in like the code words, then you might have it on your account already. However, like our education partners, you'll see this rolled out, I think, in about a month, over the next month. So we're just going to give you a sneak peek today. But one of the really cool announcements was that Canva was top 3 for AI tools that are being used. So I thought that was pretty incredible. And if you're here with us in the education world, then hopefully you're using all that is to offer. But some of the new things, web research sounds really simple, but I thought that was one of the great takeaways because now when you're searching in AI for Canva, you can turn on web research. So this is just going to make things faster and easier for you and your students. In our district, it's turned on for 13 and over. So all of our high schoolers will be able to use that feature. And then we have upgraded coding. So I have to admit, I'm not a huge coder. I don't do a lot of coding. I do love the AI tools that can help me kind of become a coder. But one of the great things was being able to get in and edit the HTML and copy and paste that because if you're familiar, you're trying to create like a widget, right? And you're trying to create this and it gives you all this code and you don't like one little thing, then you have to regenerate the whole search. And so now with being able to edit the HTML, you can go in and just tweak a few things. So I think that's going to be amazing for our users who are using the coding. And
And can
then
I
we
just
have a
add there?
memory. What?
Oh, I just want to add one thing to that.
Yeah.
We have so many concerns in the world and the community about the resources that are absorbed, using AI. And so I just want to give a shout out to that, what you just talked about, because again, instead of re-rendering 100% of the prompting and 100% of the code, it's just
Mhm.
changing the one little element you needed changed, and that is a major shift in the amount of tokens that are used. So I just want to point that out because I think, we need to be acknowledging the times that companies are investing in rolling that back because that's been such a big concern. Anyway, thanks for letting me interject.
Yeah, as much as you want. And then something that they introduced about is their memory library. So now when you get in to Canva AI, it's going to save all of your chats and you can go back and forth and add to them. But also it creates this cool about me template where as you generate more activities in your projects, as you do more creating, then it will update your memory library, which is also like an about you, like bio page. I've been playing with that a little bit on my personal account, and I want to add a lot more so then I can see it like shift. So that'll take some time for me to see like what it really does, but I think that could be really neat. And then layered object intelligence. I know this sounds like something we already had in Canva, but not really. So I'm going to go forward a little bit. And if you will, with the layered object intelligence, so if you're familiar, we were able to remove the background, and we were able to like separate the foreground and the background. Well, now with 2.0, it gives you lots of layers for every picture that you bring in. And this really just allows teachers and students to get creative faster. Like, I think it makes it a little bit easier to get in there and make more tweaks and use more of the creative tools instead of being limited. So I think this is a really exciting one for me. And I pulled in a picture, Becky, of you and I didn't put it on here, but I pulled in a picture of you and I that we took, and it gave me like 12 layers from our picture, right?
Oh my gosh.
And instantly it took the two of us and separated us into separate boxes, like anticipating that you might want to remove a person or you might want to have people separated. And all of the big objects came in as separate pieces or layers. I thought that was pretty incredible.
Wow.
We do a lot with that when we're doing creative projects with students. So I think that's going to be a huge win actually for our students.
Really interesting.
Yeah, really interesting, really cool. And then this is just a picture of what that memory library looks like with the about me. This is what you'll see when you get in there. And then it creates your bio page really quickly. Mine was really fun to look at. I was like, oh yeah, that does sound like me. I do those things. So I was pretty happy with what it generated from my projects that were already in Canva.
I was shocked
And then
how much it knew about me.
Right? Although I need it on my education app now because I do a lot of my creating in there, or my education account. So I can't wait to see what it says when I get in there. And then there's just a picture of what that web research is going to look like. But I want to move on to my next theme. So this theme for me, this was, I think, like my biggest takeaway from Canva Create was I went to a couple different sessions on the Create stage, which was, I don't think we mentioned this, but Canva Create, it's a giant mix of industry leaders and educators and like social media presence people. Like it's just a huge collaboration of all different networks of people. And I think that's pretty amazing instead of just being at like an education conference, right? And so I went to a lot of different Create Stage seminars, and they were mostly industry leaders, people from LinkedIn and Stripe and all different companies, NBC, lots of different companies were represented. But the big thing, one of the sessions was actually called After Automation, Creativity is Productivity. And there was a lot of talk around like, we're all using AI for very different things. Everybody shared their story about what got them into AI, and everybody's story was a little bit different, but mostly it was like, I need to make my life a little bit easier. And I need to find a way to use AI to make something in my life a little bit more automated or a little bit easier. And then I can spend that extra time being creative. And that creativity was what was boosting like business, right? And so even though these were industry leaders and business personnel that I was listening to, I thought that that really could be brought back to the classroom because our students really show what they know best when they have a little bit of freedom and they can be creative and they can show us what they know in all different ways, right? And they're not just doing these like tasks. So I thought that really stuck with me. And I went to a session that was actually called Unbreakable Templates. And I have been a fan of creating templates in Canva for a long time. And I think they just keep getting better. for our teachers, the idea of creating like a slide deck, even if it's super basic with just white and a few, text boxes or image placeholders, but being able to lock things in place and being able to set your students up for success to like, here's a template. These things don't really need to be changed. So don't spend your time there, right? Just put in the content that you really know that you did the research on. And then everything else, that's where you get creative and take it above and beyond and show me your connections and like what you really know. So that's really what I took from there. Better captions. So the ability now in like 3 clicks to be able to any video that you have in Canva with just a few clicks to be able to add not just basic captions, but colorful captions or really artistic captions and change the language of the captions in just a few clicks. So I think that's really great for our students who are making videos to show what they know. Automation and then creativity, brand kits. This for me, we have a district with 144 schools. And so we have 144 brand kits because every school gets their own brand kit with their logos and their school colors and their fonts and everything so that teachers can use those when they're creating their content. But teachers have always wanted their personal brand kits so that they could, right? Like in your classroom, you have a brand. And so that they could use their colors and their fonts and all the things quickly and easily for all of their materials. Now we can do that. So that's a huge win that I know a lot of teachers are really going to love. And then scheduling tasks. So I'm gonna go through a few of these. So I talked a lot about brand kits, being able to write classroom newsletters, classroom websites, flyers, project templates, just really being able to set up your brand kit and then use it all year long, right? Automate it and then being able to use it quickly. Creating those dynamic captions, that's kind of what you'll look for. But it's really easy once you're in a project with a video. All you have to do is go to text and it's right there waiting for you. It says add captions. So really easy, taking like the work out of trying to figure out how to add captions. And then this was the one with scheduling your tasks. So if you have not already been connecting your tools, then there are even more tools that can be connected. And so adding those connectors, and when you're in the AI 2.0, there's an option where you can connect all of your content when you're generating AI, when you're prompting your AI. So you can connect everything and then prompt your AI. So that's pretty amazing to bring everything in. But then once you do that, you can start scheduling tasks. So you can say every Friday, look at these sources and create like a newsletter for my parents, something like that. So I think that's going to be a big time saver once we get in and start using that. Okay, so the third theme that I'm bringing back, just needed a quick sip of water.
Wait, you took a sip of water out of your Canva water bottle.
I did. Yes, this was my Canva water bottle.
I got the same one.
I just have to say I'm really impressed because I don't know if you guys know this Frank Green company, but like the inside is coated so that you don't get that metal taste. And I appreciate that the straw is metal and there's no plastic. Like everything is just really nice. I love my water bottle. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, theme 3 is the Learn Grid. So the Learn Grid is like the big education one that was revealed. So this is, think about searching for templates like you've always done in Canva and searching and generating an AI and now put them together in the same workspace. That's what Learn Grid is. And so exploring the Learn Grid is you can, like you can see on here, you can filter what you want to generate or what you want to search for. And you can do both at the same time. So you can put in your subject, your grade, you can even put in your standards and your state. So it will pull all of that. and search for templates that are already available, or you can start generating an interactive lesson. You can generate a workbook page or like something you want to print, and you can assign once you've generated it, then you can quickly assign it to your students. So on this next page, this is one I did today, and I just put in a few of the prompts, and it was vocabulary for fourth grade or third grade in New Mexico. And I really appreciated that at the end of the assignment, it also gave me the answer key. I mean, we should know the answers, right, when we generate these, but it is nice, right? So it generated the answer key for me, and it had my teacher notes down here already embedded in the activity. So little details like that I really appreciated when the AI was generating something new from the Learn Grid. And I told it that I wanted a printable document. And so instead of having like one running document, like sometimes when you go to Canva documents, it'll just be like one long document. It already had those printable pages separated out for me and that 8.5 by 11 size. So little details that I really enjoyed in the Learn Grid. Okay, theme 4 was basically just boosting efficiency. Everything is about being more efficient, on top of being creative, right? Being creative, but being more efficient. So we were talking about connecting all of your apps. So this screenshot is from the Canva AI 2.0 platform. And so when you're in there and you get ready to type your prompt, then you can go to this little drop-down menu. And one of the options is connect your apps. So of course, you can also go to the apps section and connect and look for your different apps and connect them that way. But when you're in the AI feature, then you can connect them right from here or unconnect them if you don't want those things, if you don't want to pull from those sources when you're prompting your AI, then you can turn them on or off. So I really like that they're a little toggle switch right there. So sometimes you might want to reference your Gmail and sometimes you might not, depending on what your prompt is.
And Kelly, I just want to point out, because at Canva Create, they like premiered that, you could ask Canva AI to help you with your calendar and your email, and that was really cool. But I was disappointed at Canva Create because all of my stuff is in Microsoft 365, and they really talked about the Google integrations. And then they were like, I'm sure it's coming soon. Well, then I came home, and just this week, I went in and connected my Microsoft 365. So
Yeah.
Just for everyone's awareness, if you use either one of those platforms for work, the connectors are there for both of them. So, and I have tried it out, and it read my Office 365 content, calendar, and mail beautifully. So I just want to point that out because they didn't really talk about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, it does both. So yeah.
You know what? I was confused too, because then when I got home, I saw the same thing and it said connect, or it said print, send your stuff directly to Microsoft or something. I was like, wait, okay, so I guess we can connect. and we could.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, whichever your school is using, you can make those connections if it's okay with your IT department.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of these settings, admin at your school, at your district can turn some of these things on and off, but most of them are going to default to on when they roll out right now.
Yeah.
And anything AI defaults to on only for 13 and over. So it will not default like on for your younger schools without permissions. So that's good to know. So those are the connectors. And then one of the huge wins, which is what I think Canva thinks was a small thing, or maybe they just don't want us, they didn't want to promote it as much.
It's a big
use
thing.
Use my printer is like the best. And I just have to say that we have a poster printer here, and it was kind of a hassle before because it's on its own Wi-Fi. And so I would have to go to my phone and I would jump on that Wi-Fi, and then I'd have to download whatever the poster was and then print to it. But I didn't even have to pick the Wi-Fi. Now it's so easy. So this time I opened my poster and it said, do you want to print? Or I picked use my printer, and it found my poster printer and just printed it instantly. It was amazing. So that's a big
Yay.
win. Yay. Use my
I
printer is
have one
great.
thing that I print every single week. Just one thing, for my family actually. And I'm like, and now I just hit to use. I'm so excited. I've already done it too.
Yeah. So
I was like,
excited.
why did
That's a
this
big
take so
win.
long?
Yeah. Why did it take so long? We've been
Right.
asking for this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then design offline. That's, I think, also another small thing that's going to be a big impact, because
Mhm.
think about our students also who are
Yes.
working, from home and working on homework, or, teachers are working after hours, hopefully not too much, but maybe they want to do something on the weekend or something, right? So, I love this, or we're working on an airplane, right? We do those things. So working offline, that's great. I love that we have that now.
Yeah.
Those are all
Me too.
little things
Mhm.
that are going to be big impacts.
For sure.
Okay, and then these were just a few of my bonuses that I couldn't leave out. So live learning sessions. I got to participate with some of the other education teams in this. And so now with either a join code or a link that you could drop like in Google Classroom, or in Teams or something like that, then you have, you can drop in a link for all students to get in and join a live learning session. And those have been upgraded. Now teachers can pause and continue as needed with a lesson instead of having it live the whole time. So that's a win. And then generating music with AI. I think this is going to be a big hit. We work with a lot of students who make videos, and I know this is something that they would like to do. So, prompting it with like, we're doing a podcast and we want a certain type of music for the background. I think that's going to be a big hit with our students, making podcasts and videos in Canva. And then assigning tasks directly to Google Classroom. So when teachers are in a collaborative project with their students, now they're going to be able to assign a task directly to one student, and it'll go to their Google Classroom. So those are all things that I'm looking forward to seeing how our teachers are going to use those. And that brings us to the end. There was so much to share, but hopefully I brought back a few of the best things.
Amazing, Kelly. I just love it. And it was so fun to be at Canva Create together, and also just to see the excitement in the room. I think it's amazing how Canva brands their events. They're so cheerful and playful, and also just the energy in the community is like fun and exciting, and it feels like they really care about their users and the things that they think matter to them, the granting of wishes and so on. Such a fun event.
Yeah, it's always a blast.
It is. So thanks so much for everyone who joined, or if you're watching the recording today, on your, on another time, we'd love to work with you. Phygital Labs is a Canva training partner and a Canva agency partner, which means that we do work not only for Canva education, but also Canva enterprise. So Canva in higher education, organizations, industries. We're happy to help you get started with Canva. And Kelly is one of our Canva experts. So we'd love to work with you. But make sure that you're following along with us on social media and that you get our newsletter, because that's the best way to keep up with all of our events. So thanks again, Kelly, and good evening, afternoon, wherever you are.
Thank you.